Hello friends, this is Adam Shoemaker, rector here at St. Stephen's Episcopal Church in downtown Charleston, back for my final installment of this summer's Faith and Film series. Today I will be commenting on the wonderful classic 1993 film Groundhog Day, starring Bill Murray and Andie MacDowell. Groundhog Day is a film focused on a character named Phil Connors, played by Bill Murray, who is a weatherman who is sent out to Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania to witness the Groundhog Day festival, much to his chagrin. And Phil, when the movie starts, is a bit of a jerk. He is a very egocentric, has a very high opinion of himself. But somewhat magically, Phil begins to find himself in a time loop where he has to repeat the same 24 hours over and over and over again. And the film is about the transformation that takes place in his life as he wrestles with the reality of every day seeming the same. And I think that this is a very appropriate film for us to reflect upon because of the way in which COVID-19 has, in many respects, limited our options, limited our choices, limited our lives. Certainly during lockdown, I felt that every day, in many respects, felt very much the same. But we don't just need COVID for that. I think all of us from time to time can find ourselves in a place in life where things seem pretty repetitive, pretty drab. And we can struggle in those times to find meaning. It's an age-old wondering that is given voice to in the book of Ecclesiastes, beginning with the very first chapter, when Ecclesiastes begins, "Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What do people gain from all the toil at which they toil under the sun? A generation goes and a generation comes, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises and the sun goes down and hurries to the place where it rises. The wind blows to the south and goes around to the north. Round and around goes the wind, and on its circuits the wind returns. All streams run to the sea, but the sea is not full. To the place where the streams flow, there they continue to flow. All things are wearisome, more than one can express. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, or the ear filled with hearing." And so what happens in Groundhog Day is that Phil, at first, as he begins to realize that he is in this time loop and that life seemingly has no consequences, at first, this makes Phil go inward all the more, think only of himself, and he begins to try to take advantage of the situation. Live his life as if there was no meaning, no accountability, no consequences. And he tries to take advantage of the situation. He does whatever he wants. He punches a man that annoys him on the street. He takes advantage of a woman. He drives recklessly on the road. But over time, living his life this way just makes him feel more and more down about himself. He feels meaningless and really, in some point, without hope. He really sort of hits rock bottom. But then as he begins to come to a place of acceptance, we begin to see a shift. And Phil begins to try to fill his days with life-giving pursuits and to mark his days with acts of kindness. And as he begins to live his life, not for himself alone, but for others, for those around him, when he begins to live his life in a loving, and I would even say self-sacrificial way, he begins to shift very much in his perspective. There's a resurrection of sorts that begins to happen in his life, and he's ultimately able, I think, to find great meaning, great joy, great satisfaction from being available to the present moment, which of course, friends, is the only gift that God has really given us, that the present moment, the moment that is right in front of us, with the people that are right in front of us, in the place in which we find ourselves. When Phil is able to be present like that, he is ultimately able to come to a very different place in his life, and in time get out of this time loop in a way that that is restorative and healing and resurrecting. And so for me, this film is a great reminder that if we can just shift our perspective, even in those times in our life when things feel small, feel drab, feel repetitive, if we can shift our perspective and be present to what's in front of us, which is really what prayer is all about. Cultivating within ourselves the ability to be radically present to God, to neighbor, to what is going on around us. We can begin to live our lives out of gratitude and begin to shift our perspective and live our lives not for the sake of ourselves alone, but for others. And when we do this, I think we can find a great joy and satisfaction no matter what is going on around us. And we can find in each new day, a kind of resurrection. Because each new day, friends, is a gift. Each new day that we have in this life is a new opportunity to reset ourselves and begin again. So I would encourage you to consider this as this COVID-19 pandemic continues. And if you haven't yet, to screen this wonderful film, Groundhog Day, which is sort of a modern day parable with a lot to reflect on and to consider and to learn from as we live out our daily lives as God's beloved in this world. So I'll leave things right there and conclude this summer Faith and Film series. But stay tuned for future opportunities when I might do this again. I hope, friends, that you are staying safe and well out there, and when you are out and in crowds especially, please don't forget to wear a mask. You take care, be well, and keep the faith.